Good morning, friends. I'm here as the sun is just coming up. It's around 7 o'clock, and I'm here in Rowland Heights, California, at the Queen of Heaven Cemetery on South Fullerton Road, just about 3 stoplights south of the Pomona Freeway on the right-hand side. I'm here to visit the gravesite of Stephen Parent, who was one of the Manson family murder victims back in 1969. And if I have enough time, there's another famous person buried in this cemetery as well that I'd like to visit. Officially it opens at 8 o'clock, but I just happened to luck out today and the gates were open when I got here at 7 a.m. And then I also lucked out once again in trying to find Stephen Parent's gravesite. I came right to it. He's located just right inside the front gates. You come in, make a left, and he's just can't be more than about 10 rows in a very nice location, just inside the front gates to the left. A few weeks ago, I was up in Northern California visiting the gravesite of Abigail Folger, who was one of the victims of the Manson family murders. But a couple of people watching that video left comments saying that I forgot to mention Stephen Parent. And so after getting those comments, I did a little search to find out where he's buried and discovered that he's buried here in a cemetery just a couple of miles from where I went to high school and graduated back in the 1970s. In fact, turns out that he was just a couple of years older than me, and we were in high school at the same time. So when he graduated, I was still in high school. He graduated in June of 1969 and then was sadly murdered at the Polanski estate in Beverly Hills and was buried right here just a couple of miles from where I was attending high school. I discovered that he went to and graduated from Arroyo High School in El Monte, and in another one of those weird twists of fate or coincidences that I'm always talking about, it turns out that my mom grew up in El Monte just a few blocks away from Arroyo High School. She graduated from El Monte High School, which is a little bit further away, but she graduated early, and her graduation ceremony took place at Arroyo High School. Then, even stranger, my younger brother Billy, who died a couple of years ago, graduated from Arroyo High School in 1978, 9 years after Stephen Parent graduated from Arroyo High School. So in case you don't know his story, how he came to be at the wrong place at the wrong time at Sharon Tate's home or Roman Polanski's home, but from what I've read, he picked up a hitchhiker in Beverly Hills that summer, right after graduating, and apparently they got along, they hit it off, got along, became acquaintances or friends. Well, and it turns out that this hitchhiker happened to be the caretaker or the groundskeeper at the Polanski estate where Sharon Tate and her friends were staying the night of the murder. Well, it just so happened that Stephen Parent was visiting his new friend that infamous night in 1969. According to the groundskeeper, around midnight, Stephen was leaving the estate. He was driving down the hill to the front gate just at the exact moment that the Manson family was coming in through the gates. So he was actually the first one murdered. I guess he rolled down the window and Tex Watson slashed his throat and then shot him 4 times, killing him. So after killing him, they went up to the house and then murdered Sharon Tate and her friends who were there at the house that night. So even though he was probably the least famous person there that night, I really wanted to come and visit his final resting place, to remember him and to share his story with you so he won't be forgotten. I I was also curious about William Garretson, the groundskeeper, or Willie Garretson, and what happened to him. Can you imagine living your life knowing that all of those people were murdered just next door to the guest house where you were sleeping? I'm sure that's not something that he ever forgot. I just discovered that he died on August 16th, 2016. He died in the same month that the murders occurred back in 1969. He lived to the age of 66, and according to his Find a Grave memorial page, he was cremated, and the whereabouts of his ashes are unknown at this time. Stephen Parent's gravesite is located at the south end of this small cemetery, and directly across, on the other side of the cemetery, on the north side, is the gravesite of Simon Metz. His original name was Schlitze Surtees. To find his gravesite, when you come in the front gate, you make the first right, and you go all the way to the end until it starts to curve around to the left. And then on the right-hand side is Section E, and Schlitze's gravesite is almost all the way to the back wall. Schlitzie had a medical condition known as microcephalus or microcephaly, which means that the brain does not develop properly, resulting in a smaller than normal head. The result was an intellectual disability, which left him with the mental age of a child. I think you can see the grave right down there behind me. That's Simon Metz, or he was also known, he actually had quite a number of different names that he went by. Schlitze Surtees, Schlitze Metz. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about Schlitzie. He was an actor, and I remember back when I was in college, we had a movie theater called the New Art Theater in West Los Angeles. Still there today. It's been there for decades. That's where I saw all of John Waters' movies, and any weird, strange, odd, off-ball cult movie that you can imagine has played there over the years. And that's where I saw the 1932 Todd Browning cult classic called Freaks. And one of the stars of that movie was Schlitzie. Not only was he a circus sideshow attraction, but he was also an actor. And it does seem like, looking back now, that people did take advantage of him and, turning him into a freak show. So he was born in 1901. He died in 1971, so he had a nice long life. But 1901, things were a lot different there. They didn't have YouTube where you can see every freak show and every oddity and every unusual thing you can imagine right on your smartphone anytime you want. To see those type of things, to see weird, strange, unusual people and places and things, you usually had to go to the circus. Well, today, every vlogger goes to every weird destination they can find, so it's not unusual anymore. I visit everybody, and I think everyone deserves to be remembered. And I also read that he was the inspiration for the Zippy the Pinhead comic strip by Bill Griffith, and you can definitely see the resemblance. You may not have seen the movie Freaks if you weren't a college student and didn't go to the midnight movies and have a cult movie theater like the New Art, like I did. But you can certainly see it it's probably on YouTube, and I'm sure it's still available online to view if you're interested. So now I'm going to share with you a coincidence that for me is downright spooky, and it has to do with Schlitzie and my visit to his gravesite here in the cemetery today. On my way to Hollywood this morning to visit my daughter Marcia and son-in-law Bobby, who are visiting from out of town, I decided to stop here at the Queen of Heaven Cemetery to visit the gravesite of Schlitzie. And as I mentioned, I saw Schlitzie in the movie Freaks about 40 years ago when I was in college, and I don't think I've thought of him again until today. Well, it turns out that my grandson Brandon is a huge fan of horror movies and horror TV shows, and he's a big fan of of the TV show American Horror Story, which, to be honest, I've never seen. And since Brandon knew that we would all be in Hollywood today, not far from the Alfred Rosenheim Mansion, which is also known as the Murder House, which was used as the filming location in the first season of American Horror Story back in 2011, he asked them to stop by and take a picture. So here we are in front of the famous Murder House Mansion in Los Angeles. It's at 1120 Westchester Place. It was built in 1908 and in 1999 was declared a historical landmark.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, so one of his friends from school.
So Brandon's friend's
niece.
Uncle.
It's the niece. So her uncle
Brandon's friend's uncle
is Evan Peters, who's in all the series too.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's the TV show called?
Hey, can you see where I'm at?
Oh my god.
Hey, Brandon.
I feel like I'm like, feel it.
Can you flip
Can
it
you
to
see
show
it?
it to him?
I'm trying. Hold on.
Hold on.
My phone's at 4%.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll send you a picture then. Say bye.
I just sent it right now.
Love you.
Yeah, look at the sun there with the
Yeah, it's so.
with the smoke. So this is from the Ventura
I
fires.
think I can smell the fire.
Oh, I can really smell it now. Yeah, I couldn't really smell it
I saw
before,
a guy
but
walking around with a little thing.
yeah, I'm gonna need a mask too. I'm surprised you're not having like
I will be. Yeah,
yeah,
I was talking
tonight.
earlier.
Marsha, do you want to be in front of?
Not only did Schlitzie inspire the cartoon character Zippy the Pinhead, but in 2012, actress Naomi Grossman played a character called Pepper on American Horror Story, and her character was reportedly inspired by Schlitzie. So this morning when I visited Schlitzie's gravesite, I had no idea at all that this afternoon we'd be touring the filming location for American Horror Story, or that Schlitzie was reportedly the role model or inspiration for the character Pepper on this TV show. To me, that seems way beyond your normal coincidence. What do you think? Get you in here. Oh boy, look at that sun. That is just
Is that from
all the fire, from the smoke and stuff. We also stopped off at Hollywood Forever Cemetery, where Rudolph Valentino inspired a little romance. And Bobby even tried to communicate with the dead, but he wasn't able to get any reception. Since the reception was bad, we decided to give up and head over to Pink's, the world-famous hot dog stand, which isn't very far from the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. And even though I lived in Hollywood, not very far from Pink's, for over a decade, I never had a hot dog here. So this is my first hot dog at Pink's. And you have a lot of patience and don't mind really long lines. The food is great. I hope we can get a seat inside. I mean, it's really packed.
Thank you.
I don't know if you can see the house behind me there in the window. It kind of just makes me wonder if the people who live there, I mean, they can look out their window and look at the graves right here in the cemetery. I mean, I would love to have a house like that overlooking the cemetery. And I guess barely it doesn't bother them. I wonder, since they have a direct view from their window to Schlitzie's gravesite here, I wonder if they are familiar with Schlitzie and if they've seen his movies or if they know who he is. So hopefully they will find this channel, see this video recognize their house, and they can leave a message and let us all know if they're fans of Schlitzie. And if not, after watching the movie, I'm sure they will become fans of Schlitzie. As always, thanks for joining us today. And I also just want to say thank you for all the comments you've been leaving and all the thumbs up and for sharing my videos with all of your friends. I really appreciate it. I also want to say thanks for all my new subscribers, and I hope to see you all next time.